the release was a few years before. Is that right? It was 1997, the original one?
Yeah, the album version, I'm pretty sure, came out 97 or 98, as I think we mixed it in the studio in 97. I can't remember the exact date. And then I think the first remix was 1999 by Fade, which was like a progressive house mix. And that mix started getting added on a lot of compilations. Sasha Digweed, I think, were two of the first people to start playing it a lot. And then the label wanted new remixes, and it kind of grew from there. And I think the second mix might have been Thijs's mix, the famous...
Thijs Verwest, famous trance DJ by then.
Yes, I think that's... And then that really got things going, obviously.
It went big, of course. It went absolutely big. But how did you get in touch with Tiesto in the time? And what was the idea from let's make him sure that he's going to do it?
He was releasing on the same label as us in America on Network, and I think that was the connection. And then I think I met him in Breda around the same time. I lived in Amsterdam for a little while in the late 90s, and I think I met him when I lived over there for a bit. And he was releasing in America on Network, and that sort of was the connection there. And they wanted to get somebody in to do a new remix for it after the Fade remix was, going a lot of places, and they wanted maybe a different style of remix. And because the Fade mix is pretty much straight progressive house, a little slightly more underground sounding, and so they wanted something that maybe had a little more reach, was a little more commercial. And then we met Thijs around that time, and that was, everyone knows that one.
Yeah, of course. It went through the roof, of course. Was it the idea to make it through the roof with its track Silence? Was it that you had a plan with it, or was it just...
No, that's the thing about the song is everything happened sort of organically on its own. The song almost didn't even have vocals on it. Like when we were in the studio, we were going to mix it as an instrumental because Sarah, she said she was having trouble coming up with something for the song. So we were actually in the studio mixing the song as an instrumental, and she just showed up at the studio and said, "Hey, I got something I want to sing." And we set up a microphone and we said, "Okay." And she laid down these vocals actually quite quickly, and then we just mixed it with the vocals. So everything with that song happened completely organically, unplanned, and it just everything happened. There was no plan at all. The only plan was, hey, let's get a remix, and then, hey, let's get another remix. And then, of course, after that, then it was like, now we want a radio remix. So we had Airscape from Belgium. But initially, it just was one of those strange things that just happened all on its own.
Do you still are in touch with Tiësto, or is it just fade away?
I haven't talked to him in a long time. He said hello to me on Twitter like about 8 years ago, and that's the last one I remember.
Oh my God! Now we know Tiësto from back in the 90s, of course, and I know we know that he did something with Network because Flight 643 was released on that label as well.
Yeah.
You worked with Bill, of course, in the time, and
yes.
If I'm right, the track from Silence was in the album called Karma. It is pure electronic. It almost sounds like more like trip hop, ambient stuff.
Yeah, kind of ambient electronic, And incidentally, the album did quite well in the United States. The remix in America didn't have nearly the impact it did everywhere else. It was more about the album and the album version and the album songs, and it did quite well just as an album. It was on the New Age charts and Billboard for maybe a year or something, and it was the album version of Silence was used in a film called Broke Down Palace, and it gave the song more exposure. They would play it on certain adult radio stations. I used to be in Los Angeles and hear the album playing at restaurants a lot, so it kind of had another life in America, sort of a more low-key but quite successful run in the United States. The single was really more of a Australian, British, European kind of phenomenon. It didn't really do the same in America, but the album in America did really well, so it kind of made up for it.